All right, this is Joe and Colo at DiscountJuicer.com. Today I have another exciting episode for you guys, and I'm here at the 2016 Natural Products Expo West. I'm here at the TriBest booth, and why I'm here today is to share with you guys about the benefits of juicing and also blending. Juicing and blending are the best two ways in this entire haul to get the best, most healthiest fresh fruits and vegetables in you. You may think that all these foods in this Natural Products Expo are, healthy for you, but in my opinion, many of them are highly processed, refined foods that are shelf stable, that have very low nutrients. The most important nutrients are not only the vitamins and the minerals that many of these foods have, but the problem is many of these foods don't have the phytochemicals and the phytonutrients. These are the foods that are, disease protective and anti-cancer. For example, broccoli's been shown to be anti-cancerous. And when you start processing foods, you lose these protective properties of the food. So what I encourage you guys to do is, grow your own fresh fruits and vegetables is the best. But even if you don't do that, buy them as fresh as possible and then process them at your home so you lose the minimum amount of these beneficial phytonutrients and phytochemicals. The problem in today's age is not that people are eating, vegan diets, vegetarian diets, carnivorous diets, omnivorous diets. The problem is people are missing their phytonutrients and phytochemicals because people do not eat enough fruits and vegetables. And I don't care your diet style, whether you're paleo or anything, we need to eat more fruits and vegetables. Those are the true health foods. And unfortunately, in my opinion, this industry has gotten a lot away from that. So what I'll be demonstrating for you guys today is what I've been doing lately as one of my main staple meals, and that's creating what's in this mason jar that I made 2 days ago at my home. And this is what I normally eat for dinner many days now. And what this simply is, this is a soup. And so I'm calling this demo Supersize Your Meal. And it's supersize, not S-U-P-E-R, it's S-O-U-P-E-R. Supersize your juice. So basically my soup here, which is what I'm going to eat a little bit later for lunch, is 100% fresh juice. And the base of my juice is pretty similar to this. It's just fresh peppers and orange peppers and purple carrots. And there's a reason why I choose to eat the foods I do, because I want to eat foods that are high in nutritional density. I want to eat the foods that are rich in the colors, because if a food is rich in colors, it's rich in beneficial phytochemicals. We know in the red color of the tomatoes or the watermelons, there's this stuff called lycopene. In the orange color of the standard orange carrots, there's like beta carotene, and in the purple carrots there's things like anthocyanidins that are very protective. Actually, the cool thing about the purple carrots is they've done studies when they fed purple carrots to rats with junk food, and then they fed just the rats the junk food without the purple carrots. And the rats that had the junk food, not that I advocate eating junk food, with the purple carrots actually didn't gain weight like the rats on the junk food without the purple carrots. So I mean, that just, in rats anyways, it shows the power of the anti-inflammatory and the benefits of colorful foods. So my soup these days are made with basically fruits and vegetables, and then I blend up some extra seasonings that I'll show you guys how to do. And today I'll be using the Dynablend Clean blender. It's all glass with stainless steel on the bottom, so your food will not hit or touch plastic. It also has a nice 10-year warranty, which is even longer than the Vitamix. I'll be blending that stuff up, so and then I'll be adding some fixings to it to give it some texture and then more phytonutrients inside there. So I guess without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. Today we're using the Solostar 4 juicer, and as much as I like the phytonutrients and phytochemicals, it's really important to maintain and maximize those in your juices. There are some high-speed juicers that spin at high speed that will oxidize your juice more and reduce the beneficial phytochemicals in there. For example, they did a published study that came out in the research journals last year, and they took broccoli. They juiced broccoli at a low speed, they blended broccoli at a high speed, and they also used a high-speed machine to process the broccoli. or high-speed juicer to process the broccoli. They took the broccoli juice or the broccoli blend and put that in a petri dish with about half dozen kinds of live cancer cells, and then they looked at the petri dish to see which one, the slow juice, the high-speed juice, or the blended juice, had more of the reduction of the cancer cell proliferation in the petri dish, and the slow machine had the most cancer reduction in the petri dish. So to me, that tells me that we should slow juice, because that keeps more of the beneficial phytonutrients that are actually what's kicking ass over the cancer. So I'm juicing the orange bell peppers today. Really easy to juice in here. We're just gonna go ahead and stick these guys in here. Now I'm choosing the peppers because one of the nutrients that are deficient in many people's diets, and the answer is not a vitamin C supplement from 3 halls over, it's vitamin C. And bell peppers are one of the highest fruits in vitamin C, even more than oranges. And by literally juicing the bell peppers, we're turning the bell peppers into the juice. So now we're getting all the fiber, all the soluble fiber that's soluble in water, all the nutrition from the peppers, but we're just getting rid of the insoluble fiber. So this way it allows us to eat more peppers. Like, I don't know how many of you guys would sit there and eat 6 bell peppers. I probably wouldn't, but I could juice 6 bell peppers through the juicer right quick and have a bunch of juice that I could now get the nutrition out of the bell peppers into me without having to eat them all. Now, besides just the bell peppers, we're also going to juice these purple carrots. I talked about the purple carrots earlier. That'll add some nice colored pigments to the juice. While you could get standard orange carrots or even, the yellow carrots, I do encourage you guys to eat the purple carrots and eat foods of color. Eat really dark, rich, pigmented foods if you can find them, and even better than buying them is to grow them yourself. We think in our food system that if you go into a local health food store that has a nice large produce section, you have like an endless abundance of different fruits and vegetables that you can choose to eat. Maybe there's 200 varieties in the grocery store near you. Now, that's just a drop in the bucket of all the different plant foods that are available on the planet. I would encourage you guys to check out a website called pfaf.org. That's Plants for a Future database. And in that database, they go over all the edible foods, all the edible plant foods in the world, all the plants, and you can grow these plants in your own garden and have access to nutrients that you're not getting at your local grocery store. Sometimes I like to add in just 1 hot pepper, like 1 cayenne pepper into this to make, add a little bit of spice to my juice, or to the soup base that I'll be making. And once again, a lot of soup bases, whether they're here, you're buying them pre-packaged, or you're making them at home, are using water. Now, water is absolutely important for us. We are 70% water if you're super hydrated. But the problem with water is that, as much as we need to have hydration, water's like empty calories. Now, water is good because we have hydration, but why not do better than just water? And when we juice the vegetables, we're getting water purified through the plant into the fruits and vegetables. So we're getting structured water, the cleanest water, that we don't have to filter out the chlorine, the fluoride, and all these chemical additives that are now appearing in water systems and bottled waters. We're getting nature's structured water along with nutrients instead of just drinking water and wasting the liquids we're drinking. So I always encourage you guys to drink functional liquids, water with nutrients, instead of using water as your soup base. So use juice as your soup base and fruits and vegetables as your soup base. This is working quite well. The pulp is quite dry. We also have a nice container up here. It's been pretty simple and easy to juice 6 peppers. Putting in this carrot now. Now, the Solostar 4 juicer is the best juicer if you want to juice a lot of things like wheatgrass and sprouts and the microgreens, which are powerhouses of plant nutrition. You could also include a little bit of that in the juice you're making here. This is my favorite juice base because it's pretty nutrient dense and it actually tastes quite good. I could tell you, I could tell you, I've definitely made some really not good tasting juices before. So I really try to keep it simple. So before you start experimenting with all the produce left over in your fridge and making a soup base, it could taste really nasty. You know, stick with something really simple and easy that's going to taste good. So if I don't do peppers, sometimes I don't do peppers. I'll do a tomato base. Oftentimes I'll do a carrot base because they are actually inexpensive, always available. Sometimes I'll do a celery base soup or even a cucumber based soup, but I always really like to get some dark, highly pigmented vegetables in there. My favorite is using actually the red peppers instead of the orange ones. I probably like red peppers first, orange peppers, and then the yellow peppers because they're not quite as richly pigmented. And I actually do not encourage you guys to eat the green peppers, which are actually unripe orange, red or yellow peppers. They're often less expensive because these guys take a much longer to stay on the plant until they can harvest them, whereas when these guys first develop, they're green, then they can harvest them early, so that's why they're less expensive. They also are less nutritious. All right, we got the last few bell peppers going in here. We're going to go ahead and we're just using the carrot as a pusher. Now we're just going to go ahead and push that carrot right into the machine and let it juice it on up. And once again, you know, with this machine, we're able to make a nutritionally dense soup base. Of course, you could also drink this juice as well, but I want to turn this into even something better to maximize my phytochemical and phytonutrient intake. Most Americans, unfortunately, are maximizing their caloric intake and not maximizing the phytonutrients and phytochemicals, and I believe that's one of the reasons why most Americans, 60% plus of Americans, are either overweight or obese because they're not getting the nutrition their body needs. All right, this is about done. We're going to go ahead and turn this off. And the next step is we're going to go ahead and take this juice, we're going to pour it in the blender, but no, we're not going to pour all this juice in the blender, right? We just use this slow juicer at low RPM, actually the lowest RPM of any horizontal single auger juicer, to extract the juice out. And then the problem with the blender is once we put it in the blender, we turn this on high speed, it's going to run in excess of 10,000 RPMs. It's going to create a little vortex effect, and that's like if you scratch your car and you live near the ocean, it's going to oxidize, it's going to rust. And when the blender is blending, it's oxidizing, which means it's lowering the phytonutrients and phytochemicals of food, which, as I mentioned earlier, will lower, has been shown to lower the cancer fighting ability. So for that reason, I'm not adding all this juice. I'm just going to add maybe half of it, just enough to get it blended up, and then I'm going to add the rest of the juice that has not been blended at the very end, just to mix it a little bit up so we don't damage the phytonutrients in the juice. So now we're going to go ahead and make our soup base. So to do that, I want it a little bit thick. You know, I don't just want to have a watery miso style soup. So what we're going to add some whole food thickeners. So today we got one of my favorite nuts, the macadamia nuts. We're just going to go ahead and add some macadamia nuts in there. One of the other things, the seasonings I like to use, we're going to use some miso. So I got about 2 tablespoons of miso in there. Miso is a great fermented foods, whole food source of soy in your diet. I do not recommend processed soy or isolated soy foods, but whole soy I believe is good. It's got to be organic and non-GMO, of course. Next, we're going to add some taco seasoning. This will kind of give us a taco flavored soup. This stuff's delicious. Me and my girlfriend love to make these soups like every time we get together. It's totally amazing. Oh, next then I want to talk about this guy. This is called the Hamona. They're actually in the Hilton coconut, and these coconuts have a 3-month shelf life from the time they're picked. They are not dipped in fungicides or sulfites like some of the other coconuts on the market, and they have this nice flexible jelly meat in here, so we're going to go ahead and add that in for another thickener. Another thickener I like to use, if you're not into eating a lot of fats, I could use sun-dried or dehydrated tomatoes or sun-dried or dehydrated bell peppers in there that I made at home in my Sedona dehydrator, and act as a thickener. That'll also add additional phytonutrients and phytochemicals. Another thing I like to add to the blender mixture soup is I like to add some kimchi. You could also use some sauerkraut. What this does, this pre-populates your soup with some beneficial probiotics, which are very important for us. I mean, this is not probiotics in a powder. I encourage you guys to get your probiotics and other nutrients from food, because that's where they came from first before this industry came about. And there's a beneficial probiotics in here that basically feed on the fiber of the food, and we have a symbiosis of the beneficial probiotics living in us, and they help us digest our food and also act as part of our immune system to help, you know, keep us well. So I think that's all the main ingredients. We're going to go ahead and put this top on the Dynablend Clean, and we're just going to go ahead and crank this guy up and get this all liquefied into a nice soup base. Now, while that's working, I want to go ahead and start working on my fixings inside, or some of the textures inside my soup. I kind of relate this to like a Japanese udon soup, if you've had that. You know, I used to love udon soups, and now that I eat, you know, fruits and vegetables and don't eat processed foods like that, I want to recreate some of the textures and some of the cool things they've done. So one of the favorite things I like to do is I like to basically use a machine like a spiralizer, and I used to like to take a zucchini, so now we could just literally make noodles out of zucchini. We're going to go ahead and turn this guy off. I think that's blended sufficiently. We could go ahead and take zucchini and just turn this into noodles. As you guys can see, as I turn this, we got noodles coming out, and the faster you can turn, the faster the noodles come out. So this is really cool. So now, you know, I don't want you guys to eat processed pasta or grains, or, you know, whatever they're making out of, beans and stuff now, which is probably better. But eat more fruits and vegetables, and this is one excellent way to do that. I mean, these devices, buy them on Amazon, buy them at, you know, Walmart's, you know, whatever, Target, like $10 to $15, really simple, real easy. You know, zucchini raw is amazing. It tastes so good. Has this noodle-like, I mean, look at these noodles. They're like so long, I can keep going. And the other thing is, when you're doing this, you know, if you're definitely making a lot for a lot of people, you want to probably break these up into smaller pieces so that nobody gets a noodle that's, you know, 10 feet long in their bowl. And then that comes out. So I'm just going to go ahead and take and just cut these up into little smaller pieces so it's more usable, and put those back in there. Now, the other thing I like to do besides just doing zucchini, you could also do things like carrots. And what I'm going to do on the carrots is I'm actually just going to put a slice halfway through the carrot. So this will allow me, instead of to make long noodles, this will allow me to make little short noodles, because they're already pre-cut. So you can see now they're just kind of dumping out in little small pieces. So I could have also done this with the zucchini. This will definitely save you a little bit of time. So I've been cooking or uncooking or preparing food this way now for the last 21 years. So I think I got a few things, you know, tricks up my sleeve and dialed in. And I really want to encourage people to, you know, basically eat more fruits and vegetables. You know, make a meal like this using the Solostar 4, using the Dynablend, so you could eat more nutritionally dense foods. Even if you don't eat this like this all the time, you know, if you're going to eat, you know, something else, some processed foods, some meats, have this first, and then have smaller portions of the stuff that you guys know are not so good for you, but have large portions of the stuff that is good for you. I don't want to waste my time with the stuff that's not good for me, so I just eat all stuff that is good for me, so I'll have the best results. So we're just going to go ahead and finish spiralizing this really fast. Get a bunch of carrots in there. Another texture, I really like the textures of foods, and it's some of these products, such as a juicer that now allows you to take bell peppers and carrots into a juice to create a nice liquid texture. The blender that you could add nuts into to make like a thicker texture, and then, you know, tools that allow you to make like little noodle-like shapes as well. Now, aside from the zucchini, carrots, we're going to go ahead and add some shredded lettuce in there. So I mean, you can almost think of like this as a salad. I mean, this is basically a salad with a lot of salad dressing, and I love my salad swimming in salad dressing. And now you can be guilt-free with your salad dressings, because a lot of salad dressings, unfortunately, are made out of oil and vinegar and are very high fat. This is much lower fat because we're using a whole food source of fat, you know, as a thickener, and also it's really nutritious, unlike oils, which are basically 120 calories per tablespoon with very little nutrition aside from the fat. Some of the fixings I also like to put in there, I like to use seaweed, so sometimes I'll use wakame seaweed that I soak, that has like a more chow fun noodle kind of taste if you eat Chinese food. Today I just got some nori, and I basically just slice the nori into little small strips. And seaweed is an excellent food, plant-based food, rich in things like iodine that many people may not be getting, and other trace minerals because it is from the sea. So we're going to add a bunch of nori in there. Another thing I'm going to add for a nice texture is diced avocado. So that'll add a nice texture in there as well, the diced avocado. Sometimes I'll also put in natto, so fresh made organic natto. Another nice texture. Beans are really good. You could even take something like the kimchi and slice it up into little pieces if you want, little bits of zing. Maybe I'll do that today. I'll take a little bit of kimchi here, and we're gonna just go ahead and slice that up into little pieces, not big chunks. You don't want big chunks in your soup. And we're just gonna go ahead and add that in for an additional zing and some flavor. I really like using some of the fermented foods because it adds a unique flavor called umami, and it really activates your taste buds. So we got some, in the kimchi, we got this umami flavor. We also have, some of the salty flavor, and we got some savory flavor from the taco seasoning. I think we're pretty much all set. So once we got this all blended to a nice consistency, wow, it smells really good. We're gonna go ahead and add the rest of our soup base. You see, we blended this at high speed for, a couple minutes, and that maybe lowered the beneficial nutrients, phytochemicals and phytonutrients in the juice. Now we're just gonna go ahead and add the rest. And now we're not gonna blend this at high speed. What we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and put the top on and just put it on the lowest speed just to mix it up a little bit. So we're not really damaging that much. Now this is like extra credit. Most people don't even teach this step, but I want to try to do the things the best I can. And over the 21 years I've lived this lifestyle, I always try to improve. And some of my latest improvements is just not even buying foods at the grocery store, because I can do better by growing them myself in my backyard. I teach that at growingyourgreens.com. So now we're going to go ahead and pour this soup mixture inside. Then we're going to go ahead and just stir that up. So this is how I make one of my nutrient-dense soups. I mean, this is, as you guys saw, this is based around fruits and vegetables, entirely fruits and vegetables. And this is what I love to do for dinner. And hopefully, now that you guys know how to make this with the Tribest Solostar 4 and the Dynablend Clean blender, you guys could do it too. If you guys are interested in these appliances, please check back with somebody in the black shirts. They'll be glad to help you out. And I'm going to hand this stuff over to the people over here, and they're going to go ahead and put out little serving cups for you. Thank you. All right, this is John Colo at DiscountJuicers.com. Today, another exciting episode for you, and where I'm at today is the Natural Products Expo 2016. I'm here at the Omega booth. Unfortunately, Omega doesn't have any brand new juicers to introduce at this show, but they have a few new single auger machines coming out. But what I'm going to do in this episode is actually we're going to go ahead and use the Omega VSJ 840